Today I'm standing in front of Paris's beloved Notre Dame Cathedral, but I'm going to take you to explore something that many of us did not know was here. Did you know that right below this is a museum, an archaeological crypt with Roman ruins right below our feet? So we're going to go down and check it out. It's right over here. You see this front courtyard right here, and if you walk right over to this sign, you're going to see an entrance. And right here is the sign, and it goes down right here. I never knew this was here until recently. This was unearthed between 1965 and 1970 during the construction of an underground car park. It's the only archaeological site open to the public in Paris. This opened in 1980 to the public, and what you'll see as we walk through here includes basically a history of Paris back about 2,000 years until now. Originally it was a Roman city here called Lutetia, and what we're going to see is the remains underground here of the dock from ancient Roman times where they had a port on the river here. You'll see remains of a Gallo-Roman bathhouse here, complete with warm and cold rooms, and you will even see the changing room with benches and subfloor heating system that's still visible. There's a pillar from a luxurious house that once stood here. We're also going to see parts of the early 4th century city wall. There is the basement of a prior hospital chapel that had burned in 1772, leaving just the basement. There are the foundations of the 1750s orphan hospital called the Hospice des Enfants Trouvés, which disappeared in 1877. And there will also be some of the outlines of Baron Haussmann's sewer system here. So we're just going to walk through and look at all of this. And what we're also going to see is an incredible exhibit. This is the exhibit called Dans la Seine, and it is on exhibit until June 28th of 2026. And it shows an incredible amount of artifacts from prehistory all the way to sort of modern times that have been pulled out of the riverbed and the river banks over the years. If you love old artifacts and bits and pieces like this is definitely worth a stop if you're here in the spring of 2026. So let's continue the wander and see what else there is to see in this amazing, little known archaeological crypt under Notre Dame. Prehistoric items. Things that were used to make tools, different kinds of stone. Sorry if the light is flickering, there's different settings for light in Europe and I don't seem to be able to get past them. Wow. Discovered in 1991 in a gravel pit in the Marne region. Wow. Oh my goodness, look at this. There's part of an old house, and there's a bathhouse. And there is actually, you'll see remains of underfloor heating that was part of the bathhouse down here from Roman times. It says, this wall is the only vestige of the antique port built after the colonization of Lutetia by the Romans. Its current location reveals that the surface area of the island was smaller at the time. Boats docked there to unload goods. And you can see they have a kind of a painting back there that resembles a dock. Wow, there's a doorway. It says you are standing on the ancient bank of the Seine River, 55 meters back from today's bank. Before the Romans conquered the city, the natural site looked very different than it does today. In order to be able to cross and navigate the marshy area created by the river, Roman engineers and soldiers chose to build this into a fort, and the port's first dock is still visible here. Traces of a fishery have also been found. Merchandise and foodstuffs arrived in the city by waterway or by main streets that were leading to the port. 2,000 years ago. This was a riverbank. And I love the stairs. I'm always fascinated at stairs. Think of how many people ran up and down these stairs over the years. I don't want to know where that went. Persian knots are identified by their inscription or dedication to Emperor Tiberius and Jupiter. This is engraved on a pillar where they are represented or symbolically associated with Gallic and Roman deities. The pillar is the oldest votive monument discovered in northern Gaul. The blocks were discovered in 1711 and reused in a 4th century wall under the Cathedral of Notre Dame. Wow, look at these blocks. And each one, all 4 sides, has a different inscription. River. Tiny little spoon. Small miniature tableware. Candlestick. A spout in the form of a lion's head. Tiny rings. Wow. Button with the letter M. This long wall belongs to the former Foundling Hospice, the first Parisian orphanage. Built between 1746 and 1750 at the request of King Louis XV. It was destroyed in 1877 to make the forecourt of the cathedral larger. Wow. I love the doorways. You can just get a sense of people moving about through these spaces with doorways and stairways. I love it. These are small leaden objects found in the river that were pilgrim badges, religious figurines, political badges, miniature toys, inkwells, and portable reliquaries. And they're just tiny. They're like the size of a coin. That's Saint Hildegard. It's the size of a quarter. Saint Christopher. Saint Denis. Carrying his head. Saint Leonard. Lances. Axes. An axe with a symmetrical head. Narrow blade. Look at these old pieces. Wow. From the 8th century and the 6th century. 8th century sword broken. Wow. Very utilitarian. More axes. Century, Middle Ages, lances. That's just sediment, concrete caused by sediment buildup. And then when you get it out of the rock, that's what you have is a shell. Wow. Looks like a key sticking out of some more concrete made from sediment. Goodness, more weapons. Look at all of this. Helmets? This is a cool museum, you guys. Oh my goodness. If you ever have something, you have some time in Paris and you're not sure what you should do with it, you should check out this museum. I think this display is only on for part of 2026 though. Spurs. Oh, beautiful. Look at the workmanship on that. These are beautiful pieces. That's a long sword that is probably 3 feet long, but also very utility. Number 4 is a German, French helmet from World War I. And this is a German helmet from World War I. This is a bayonet. Those are both bayonets. Beautiful marble statue heads. Wow. Number 3 is a small punch tool made from rifle cartridges and a French bayonet tip. And if I'm not mistaken, this is something that was found in the river that was one of the carved pieces that fell off of one of the bridges. So it was originally on the bridge and fell into the river. house rooms. You went through in a route through a series of small rooms. So behind me you can see from left to right, you can see the changing room, the warm room, and the hot room. The changing room and the cold room occupy the same space and may have been equipped with a foot bath or a cold pool, which is now gone. Benches, one of which is still visible along the back wall, were arranged throughout. There's a whole little animated thing of what this would have looked like. You've got the changing room, a warm room, and a hot room. These are so cool. These thermal baths were active until the early 5th century. You entered the changing room and the cold room via a small courtyard. The warm room and hot room with a pool were heated from the floor, thanks to a hypocaust system, recognizable by its stacked bricks. In the changing room with its faded floor, we can see a bench where patrons sat to undress. The heated baths were equipped with underground heating known as a hypocaust system. Hot fumes came from an exterior heating chamber whose vaulted duct is still in place at the end of the visitor's trail. The fumes circulated beneath the floor, which is elevated on small piles of bricks, like that. And it spread through terracotta pipes inside the partitions before exiting through the roof. The temperature is estimated to have been between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius, with a constant supply of wood being readily available at all times. The hot room, whose base of reused stone blocks is visible behind me. The room was equipped with a small pool called a solium, which filled with hot water and could hold 3 to 4 people seated on benches. Water came from a cauldron located above the heating chamber and was drained through lead pipes whose traces are conserved in the masonry of the apse. The hot room is visible opposite you. So the hot room is visible opposite us. So maybe that. An oil lamp. Money, discovered in 2012. One is readable in the name of Emperor Arcadius between 388 and 392. Tiny little bottles. These are core samples from underground exploratory drilling before they were discarded. With the help of archaeologists, geologists, and historians, they study the samples and resculpt them to tell the story as cities. This is amazing that this was all here underneath. They didn't find this until the 60s. This would have been buried and lost forever. Look how beautiful this is. Look at the piles of bricks. Stacks of bricks back there. It's amazing. Alright, we're going back out. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Paris. If you are in the area and you need something else to do, come to Notre Dame. and go right down into the crypt and see some real history. That's amazing.